Testing, testing. I will call to order the Board of Review for Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. Roll call by Amanda, please.
Bill Leclerc,
Here.
Scott Steckmesser,
Here.
Greg Buckley,
Here.
Bonnie Shimerlunas is absent, and I myself as a city clerk is here.
Excellent. Then you will be giving oaths to board members.
Yeah.
And then clerk also gives oath to assessor.
The board members could please stand. Right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Scott Steckmesser,
Solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Wisconsin,
of the State of Wisconsin,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of member of Board of Review
the duties of member of Board of Review
for the city of Two Rivers
for the city of Two Rivers
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
How do we?
Have been elected or appointed to the office of assessor
to the office of assessor
for the city of Two Rivers.
for the city of Two Rivers.
Swear that I will support the Constitution
Swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
state of Wisconsin,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of said office
the duties of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
If you can just- And I did take my oath previously.
Okay, sounds good. On to number 3, confirmation of appropriate board of review and open meeting notices.
A notice of the 2-hour Board of Review meeting was published in the Herald Times Reporter on May 13th, 2024, posted at the City Hall, J.E. Hamilton Community House, and the Leicester Public Library on May 9th. And a meeting notice for this specific meeting of Board of Review was sent to media outlets on Thursday, September 19th, 2024, and posted at City Hall, the J.E. Hamilton Community House, and Leicester Public Library.
Excellent, thank you for that. Number 4, verify that at least one board of review member has met the mandatory training requirements.
I myself, the city clerk, as well as the Board of Review President, Scott Steckmesser, have completed the training that was by the Wisconsin Department of Revenue.
Okay. Number 5, verify that the city has an ordinance for the confidentiality of income and expense information provided to the assessor under state law, Wisconsin statute 70.477AF.
The city does have this ordinance, and it can be found in Municipal Code Section 2-5-4.
Okay, thank you. Number 6, review of new laws.
Effective in 2023, at least one board member had to take the mandatory training requirements of each year. Since 2023, there has not been any additional updated laws.
Okay, thank you. Number 7, filing and summary of annual assessment report by assessor's office.
Okay. I did give a copy of this to Greg, and he can give that out as he wishes. It just states that Accurate's been your assessor for 2 years. In 2024, we performed an interim market update for the first time. The current contract goes through 2026. The last market update was 1999, I believe. The average residential increase this year was 94.4%. The average commercial increase was 38.5%, with an overall community change of 82.5%. We started our field work on August 1st. August 6th, the real estate review was complete. August 7th, we mailed the notices. August 19th, we had our first open book. August 26th, any change that happened at the open book, those notices were mailed. And then today is the board of review. A couple of quick facts. We visited 343 parcels. We reviewed 925 2023 building permits. There was 396 total sales in 2023. We were able to use 224 of them as valid sales. We had 61 in-person open book appointments. Estimated new construction for residential is 814,800. Commercial is 4,807,600 going into 2025, or partially started for 2024. We spoke to 253 residents, 38 commercial owners. We reviewed and did quality audits August 7th for parcels, and then on August 2nd, we had a quality audit for all the field work.
Okay, thank you for that. Number 8, receipt of the assessment roll by the clerk from the assessor. Number 9, receive the assessment roll and sworn statements from the clerk. Same thing, right? Receipt and receive. Maybe the opposite order. You have receipt of it.
Yes.
Okay. Number 10, review the assessment roll and perform statutory duties, which include examine the roll, correct descriptions or calculation errors, add omitted property, and eliminate double assessed property.
There was one omitted property of here.
Property was parcel 161012101 for Fresh Construction LLC at 3104 Sandy.
That's a spec house up there that I think is still on the market presently.
Yes, it was exempt.
It was.
Was no longer supposed to be exempt, so it has to go in the roll.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Excellent. Anything else?
There is no correction of errors.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So discussion action, certify all corrections or error under state law. So we just did that, the one addition. Number 12, discussion or action, verify with the assessor that open book changes are included in the assessment roll.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Number 13, allow taxpayers to examine assessment data. If anyone. By all means, you want to take a look at the assessment data?
Just want to verify that what
It's not on your assessment.
I got an amendment.
It's up to you if you would like me to answer, because that is not easy to navigate. I can quickly look, but that's up to you guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You sent me one thing, then supposedly on the 27th of August, you sent me this.
I see that.
Yes,
Oh, Terry.
yes. It did not come,
Sure.
so I didn't get that till the 20th of September. They could have walked into my house.
You're not scaling.
No.
Let's see.
I just want to make sure that it's this and not this. Because it doesn't say what to, the assessor. You just. this is.
Yeah, this is
Your assessed value.
right here.
That's that.
All right, have a good night. No, you can't take that. You can take that. Yeah, have a good night. You're welcome.
And you're.
Shonda. SHA NDA.
Line there. On
Yep, that's your assessment right now.
line
Do
receiving
you want me to email or do you just want to,
evidence here.
it's going to show the
Oh,
same
okay.
thing you have, but this is your value. Yep.
I'm good.
Okay, yep.
Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
And this is just an informational report, but I am pretty certain those new construction numbers are reversed. I think it was about 4.8 in commercial, and maybe I'm wrong, but the state's equalization report for 2023 showed about 4.5 in new residential construction and about 644 in new.
Okay, I
Commercial.
can, let me see if I can look. Colin created the report.
Okay,
I'm not throwing him under
Yeah,
the
'cause
bus.
no, I was just sitting here
Okay,
saying,
let me.
oh my goodness, I don't recall a commercial development of that magnitude.
All right, let's take a peek here.
No, that's 10 to 12 houses at the rate they've been getting. The average assessment, say, of the homes over at Sandy Bay is about 440,000.
What about that development you asked me about? Did they pull a permit? That's not started. Okay. All right, let me look.
I'm highly suspicious those are,
Okay,
it's not material to our function, but
sure.
we got time.
Anyone else want, Dave, do you want to look at? You're good, okay. Let's see, the number 14. During the first 2 hours, we have consideration of waivers off of the required 48-hour notice of intent to file an objection when there is good cause. Request for waiver of the BOR hearing, allowing the property owner an appeal directly to the circuit court. Request to testify by telephone or submit a sworn written statement. Subpoena requests and act on any other legal, allowed, or required Board of Review matters. For 2 hours.
I report that I received an objection cause, request for waiver of property owner. No request to testify by phone, telephone, or sworn written statement, and no subpoena requests.
Review notices of intent to file objection.
We had 4 notices of the intent to file an objection received by Monday, September 23rd at 4 p.m. There were no notices of intent to file an objection received after that deadline. 2 of these objections have been completed by the assessor by coming to an agreement with the property owner. And 2 of these, the other 2 do have hearings scheduled tonight, one at 5 p.m. and one at 5:15 p.m.
And that then means we're or if anyone decides.
Us and go off the record and. Not in session, okay,
Gotcha.
okay. So should we leave the audio?
I would say so, yes.
Okay, okay.
Just nice pouring. With screens for
Yes.
an hour or so.
And let's keep it that way. Boring, just an admonition.
Yeah, the adjective nice, boring.
Yeah, no hot mic moments, yeah, because it is hot. It's- Okay, thank you.
The page numbers of where I changed those two values. No one sent it. Two oh six. Number.
Just comment on the overall report. Interesting thing about other reval here. We all know it's residential that really has been surging in the 2 years. Even though someone might take comfort if they're at or below the 94.4% average for residential properties, the fact that the 25% or so of our total valuation that is commercial grew by only 38% means there's, when you're levying X amount of taxes, that's shifting burden over onto the residential class. I noted Misery Loves Company on revals this year, and Oshkosh. This has been a reval year for the city of Oshkosh and their residential, and this was only over 7 years. Since their last reval went up about 75%, commercial 25%. So this is not usual. That's also a fact of life. When you do a reval and you've got one sector or one class that's going up a lot faster than the others, that shifts the percentage of the tax burden that's being paid by that class of property.
So I will confirm with Kyle, but my numbers are coming up the same exact way.
This is,
So there could be a permit input wrong, or there could be something going on that.
it's not right there.
Yeah.
Because
So
I assume. it
I
should-
will ask him
yeah.
as soon as he gets here.
Okay. I assume it should correspond in some manner at least. And the numbers aren't exactly the same to what DOR would have attributed as value to new construction. And yeah, okay. Yeah, didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
Oh, no
but
problem.
It just intuitively,
Yeah,
right? 800,000 is like 2 houses.
yeah, right.
Yeah. The 1990s, all the day.
I mean, we talked to a ton of people, but we just explained it and
And again, we
Maybe it will be at 5.
could be, and we
People get off of work, come down, contest their property tax values.
meet our statutory duties actively and fairly that, the real test I find, and I wouldn't sell my house for anything less than it's assessed at. Can you look, that's not a standard here, but can you look me in the eye and honestly say that you would sell your house for that amount or less? And that's the goal, to be assessing at market.
correct.
Yep. It's equity exercise, and any equity falls on one of the taxing entities, and bingo, the city's at.
Correct.
Happens when
Welcome.
way high.
Yeah. Board of Review. Oh. Feel free to come on in.
I'll use it. People here.
Always, there's always the option of various attempts, but yeah, the likelihood of anybody succeeding on them, like unjust taxation or that kind of a thing, especially when all like this, everybody's gonna really not.
Fire in the. I was on. Dollars.
Yeah. That's what we're here for right now.
There's nobody here?
Well, so
I
can we?
know, I was supposed to submit something 48 hours ago, I just.
Next year, but I was just wondering, so I thought I'd just come here and watch the process to get educated.
Oh, sure.
Or if you want to take up my class, if there's nobody here, it's, I don't know. They do have a letter, at least they have it. Because it never hurts to.
Well, at least ask questions. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. That's true. Probably just looking something up right now, I think. Yeah. See how we proceed. Just double checking.
No worries, I mean, like, I know, I screwed up, I missed the deadline, but.
But you have 40 hours to make kids, right?
Can I speak?
Yeah, please.
So she'd have to fill out a form. You would have to call a motion to even hear the case between you guys. And then we would have to file a motion to either give 48 hours or, I mean, it has to be extreme circumstances to hear the case.
Right. Has anybody come yet today?
It's 2 appointments. There's 2 appointments, yeah.
Wait.
So there's the 48-hour deadline, and then what happens is you can like verbally tell us or in writing, tell the clerk, and then the clerk will give you a form to fill out, and then we'll schedule a hearing for you.
So in terms of like, this happens, I can do this annually, correct?
We can come to open book typically.
Is this open book?
Just the board.
Review.
So I could come to the thing in August? Without having scheduled anything?
Correct.
Okay, so all new terminology for me, not clear, not. And I probably should have called and asked somebody better.
So we can, the board can grant a waiver
If you can show good
clause
as to
by,
that you did not file that 48-hour notice.
I can't lie. No, it's not. One of the reasons to Rivers, I'm like, I didn't read the fine print. Is that a good cause? I don't know. I had this day on my calendar. I just didn't. And yet, I've never done this procedure before, so I'm like this open book versus this thing at the 25th. And like, it's, to me, I found the whole exercise confusing. So I should have just probably called and asked. But that's on me.
So do you want to wait until next year and come to the open book?
We'll see how.
start the process over?
So the open book, how do I hear about open book?
It's on your letter.
Well, that's for this year, but next year,
It's published in the newspaper, it's posted on our website, it's
so the Two Rivers City
On the
Rivers
website,
website is
yeah.
open
It's
book.
usually in
August.
usually, we send fairly early, that information's out there early. I mean, I publish it in the newspaper like the beginning of May.
Yeah, I don't like.
No, I'm telling you, so like,
It is
it's
modern day.
it's on the website like early May because we have those dates set very early.
So beyond the website, if I may, it doesn't come in my utility bill, does it?
There was a big incident, wasn't there?
There was
This
this
is big, yeah. We usually, I think, put the open book dates in there every year.
But then again, I didn't know what open book meant. Like,
So-
it's like, you know, open book is like, what the, what? Sorry. I'm like, it's, you know, it's like every, plumbers have their own language, mathematicians have their own language, and this process has its own language.
Right. So really, the open book is a time for you to come and look at the assessment.
And if I'm totally wrong, just throw something in there.
Yeah, so there would be assessors there to talk to about your assessment.
Is it here?
We were here 3 days back to back, I think this
Yeah,
year.
okay, like, again, I don't live here full time, so I
Yeah.
got out of Two Rivers.
Or there was an option to do an email option for like 3 weeks, it was open.
And you can also call that number that was on that letter, and they were taking phone calls as well.
And the same thing next year, the open book, there will be an email option and an in-person option. Okay, so the process of arguing one's assessment, what's the best,
Open book.
okay, but what's the best group of information that I should bring with me to argue my case?
Just, you know,
That's something you'd have to talk with an attorney about, your own attorney.
Yeah, my father was a return. He was like, I was a 3-generation real estate broker, and I used to bank the real estate industry. So it's all location, valuation, condition of property, supply and demand, right?
I mean, open book is very simple. We can just have a conversation and if we see change that minute, we can change you.
Oh, it goes like that? Is that easy? Potentially? Okay. I'm gonna watch some other stuff and just get it done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll wait here. Let's Two Rivers, so I pay a little extra taxes to support your bottom line, that's okay.
Thanks for being so open.
The world's a little intense right now. Let's like lower the temperature.
Did you want to bring?
And how, I used to, at one point,
And he's taken over for me.
this was hardwood floors, and Jean Wolfmeyer used to have her dance classes up here, and I took, when the community house was closed for something else, so I have been around here a long time.
So just so you're aware, we're waiting for our first hearing, so nothing's happening until 5 o'clock.
On the schedule anyway.
Yes,
So you have a hearing at 5 and then at,
5:15.
is it all residential? No commercial. Does commercial impact valuation because of the location of this house? It's like in some new designated business. Again, like, so many different variables go into valuation.
I missed the question, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just saying because, so I know I noticed something that there was, a meeting over the course of the summer, I couldn't make it, but, they've designated a new business district that goes down 22nd Street, kind of between the fire station and Walgreens, Quick Trip and the fire station. And call, you know,
22nd Street there.
yeah, well, it's, the house is right on 22nd and Adams. It's been in the family since, my father bought it with his parents in 1950.
Okay.
And Culver's was supposed to go in across the street at like kitty corner from where they're at. But I don't know if that business district designation has any impact.
You can't use the first floor for residential at all. It has to be a store.
It has to be what?
That house that you're talking about is Yellow House on the corner?
No, I'm the
No?
big white house on
Okay,
the
so
northwest corner of
I think
22nd
you're-
and Adams.
I think if you were across the street, it'd make a difference. I'm not sure.
Just trying to get the lay of the land of how things are evolving in Two Rivers. Because sometimes it helps to just show up in person, and I'm kind of old, so I'm old. I graduated in 79, so I'm like old school in this regard.
Sorry about that.
Citizen, not here for board of review, but with some other needs, so we took care of it, sort of. Oh. No, I don't think that one ever got regional. Yeah, the next.
She will live across the street. 4 minutes. Should be close, well, not more seconds.
I guess it, I'll check the zoning. That one got in May? I'll go get the zoning map.
He's questioning on it said, how much was it? Residential expected new construction?
Oh, yeah, I questioned on the report, the residential, I almost suspect they're flip-flopped because 814,000 would be like 2 houses. And the state DOR annual report, when they come out with the equalized values, they show economic change, but then they show new construction. The numbers don't match exactly, but their new construction residential was like 4.4 million. New construction commercial was like 644,000. So.
And it's showing the same numbers
Not an integral part of board of review, but those
Yeah, we can
numbers just didn't make
we
sense
could
to
have a
me.
permit put in.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get that zoning map of it.
What is Two Rivers Community on Memorial Drive?
What's the address of it?
5,000.
That would be, well, that's the Aurora Medical Center, but, yeah, probably it's going to be listed as Two Rivers Community Hospital.
Because they have a current permit billed for 7 mil.
Okay,
So, I mean,
okay.
I'm just I have to go through month by month,
Yep.
but that kind of caught my
So
eye.
that was new value added in 2020, during 2023.
We still have them at 0 assessed.
Okay, well,
The hospital's taxes.
Right,
so they've been doing extensive renovation.
Okay.
Their OR and other.
Okay.
But
There's a value, there'd be a value there, but they're.
not helping you.
Correct. The medical office building next door is taxing
Sure,
the hospitals.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out.
If that is, even as permit values, that's.
Sound right? Okay.
Colin, you wanna take your oath? No, we don't want to. I'm gonna actively ignore you.
What's up? I'm sorry.
She wants to-
Do you wanna take your oath?
Yeah.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Alan Walker,
have been elected or appointed
have been elected or appointed
to the office of assessor
to the office of assessor
for the city of Two Rivers.
for the city of Two Rivers.
Swear that I will support the Constitution
I swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of
of
the state of Wisconsin,
the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of said office
of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
We have to find building progress. Can you sign this, please?
That's okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I. Yeah, it's a lead time.
Mr. Buckley, those were flip-flopped.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry for that.
Yep. Thank you for that clarification. And I understand the citizen, property owner had a question about zoning of a property. Yep. Just let me use my, this doesn't look very high tech, but this is the zoning map as of 1/1/20. So it's current and the only one I can get my hands on. It does look like it's B2 zoning, so it probably was present.
Well, something, I got something in the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's on the north side of the.
Okay, it's not.
Correct.
Not the lime green, not the yellowish greenhouse on the south.
No,
That's what he said too.
Where Culver's was supposed to go,
Yeah, that's on the south
that's on the
side.
southeast, so I'm like kitty corner on the northwest
Okay.
side.
Is that Harvey Turner's old house?
That was my dad.
You're Miss Turner, Mr. Turner's, okay.
I'm still Miss Turner.
Miss Turner, Greg Buckley, city manager.
Have I
We've
met
not
you?
met. I've heard good things about you. Your dad's a great guy.
Well, he bought it, yeah, I mean, no,
So
but
you-
he bought it with his grandparents, with his parents in 1950,
Okay.
which is, so it's like, oh, third
You
generation.
know Vicky Burke.
Inspections, Vicky.
Pardon?
Vicky Burke.
Oh, Vicky, for
Yeah.
sure, Vicky and my sister were in
Okay.
all through school together.
Isn't that the beauty of small communities?
It is.
Okay, so Harvey Turner's house we're talking about.
Okay, yes, it is, you could say it's Harvey Turner's house.
Yeah, the late.
The late,
Let me double check.
yeah, he went to the Great Beyond 8 years ago, so.
Yes.
He said, you should keep it as your beach house, and that's kind of how it's evolved.
22nd and Adams.
And then she didn't have.
That is in the purple. That is R3, which is 1 and 2 family residential zoning.
All right,
Yeah.
so
Never really gonna practice it.
And that is.
so I suspect it was, I don't know if he ever got switched to one family from two families. Can I tell by my bill? I have no idea.
2 family would be permissible in that district.
Well, no, Grandma and Grandpa lived upstairs when we grew up, so it was a two family, but it hasn't been used to be two family since
Right.
Grandpa died in '89.
But as with 1 and 2 family zoning, it could be used as either.
Oh, so it doesn't, is it economically beneficial to have it rezoned as just one family, single family?
I'm not
You're
in a
not-
position to comment on that. I don't know if our assessors would know that either. The question was, the property in question is zoned 1 and 2 family, which it looks like that entire block face and a lot of the areas around it are 1 and 2. Would it be economically beneficial? I assume you're talking in terms of the property's value. If it were zoned single family, I'm not in a position to judge that. We have a lot of the older neighborhoods in Two Rivers are 1 and 2 family zoning.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I just don't have any perspective on this. I live in a condo in Madison, so
Okay.
that's a whole different animal.
Yeah, it's a different world.
That's
Yeah.
what
So is there somebody renting that right now, or is there just, no?
Believe me, there is so much deferred maintenance that I am not willing to take the liability. But I have my, dad worked with Jonathan Sturm's dad to do the mall, so Jonathan mows and shovels, and Lisa across the street, and
Well, that's a concern, Mark, because there's such a need for housing. That I just
send you.
So the second floor bathroom can't even have a shower. To get to the basement where there's still my mother's 1965 Maytag wash machine finally gave out 7 years ago. There's like hard rewired I had the electricity done on the first floor in the 70s, but they never rewired the electrical on the second floor.
So have you, we could work with somebody like Habitat for Humanity, things like, you know.
At
Wire place like that, we could fix that.
At some, well, I'm happy to talk to you about renting out in that context to fix up the second floor.
Fix out the whole place,
Well,
you know, we buy it.
I mean, like, I put in a new boiler in 2019, and so I had Smoky Barbecue, okay, the old one was 1965, because Harv had all the paperwork, he was just master efficiency. It was an American standard from 1965. I remember when they took out the coal burning boiler and put in the natural gas. So there's a new boiler, and I put in a new hot water heater 4 years ago, but when they did the boiler, you know, they had to take out asbestos, there had to be remediation because of that. There's like, it's a 100-year-old house with great radiators. That still is one of the warmest places I've ever lived. So anyway, fix it up. I mean, I still come back here regularly, and my beloved spousal equivalent's mom's just moved back to Manitowoc, and as long as she's alive, I used to say until Auntie Mickey died, I would hang on to it and reassess. Well, now his mom's going strong at 92, lives in Felicia Village. So we just stayed in the whole house over the weekend, over Labor Day weekend. So. Not sure. Yes, I know there's a housing shortage like throughout the nation. Having the right renters, and I know dad had a bunch of rental units at one point when, you know, because he was in the business. This was his business. This is to be an absentee, to have a right renter and who would want to take on all the like house maintenance, the shoveling and the grass mowing and stuff. It's like,
It's tough there because there's virtually no front yard.
oh, there's no, well, they took it in the 60s when the state came in and made 22nd Street part of 147, a state highway. There used to be a strip of grass there. It was only, I think it's 22nd Street between the fire station and Quick Trip is technically 4 lanes, maybe. It's a little bit not clear to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know Dad got like them to put no parking signs because you could see around the corner. But yeah, there used to be a strip between the sidewalk and then that strip of grass. Well, then they took that out. I'm sure he got paid something for it, but you know, minuscule. And there's no place so shoveling snow is always a nightmare. And because it's a corner lot, it's a lot of snow to shovel.
I know in the past, we've looked at a no parking restriction all along 22nd Street there. And I distinctly remember there was a lot of concern about that.
Yeah, I mean, because you could like sneak out, and now we're really happy that you put the lights flashing around the stop sign
yes,
on Adams Street.
That's a dangerous intersection, especially northbound, because that house looms up there.
Right up, it just.
There was a
right up
fatal
there.
accident there quite a few years ago, but a lady ran that. So.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a, and given the increased cost of labor and materials and finding people to do the work, it's been a little bit of a challenge too. Like I need to replace storm windows and so.
But no appeal on your assessment though, am I understanding?
Well, I failed to properly fill in the
yes.
paperwork, so I'm sitting here to get educated.
Very good. And you're more than welcome. Yeah, thanks for being here. Shonda, thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, no, I want to appeal my assessment because there's no way that, I know what the replacement value is and I know what I'm sure I can get for it in the market.
Aye.
And then, because of the location and all the different maintenance, there's a vast spread.
I was hoping you brought it.
We have appeals scheduled at 5 and 5:15. Okay. I hope it worked out good for you, Shonda. It's not anticipated that you'd need to be where you were. still in shock we have so few formal appeals.
Well, there is probably a Facebook-based post that really explains it good.
Okay,
That's a problem.
that's, could very well.
Some people. So that they're. Look.
Do you guys have any idea what the impact of the mill rate will be this year? I mean, because we've seen Madison as, you know, the assessment goes up and then the mill rate gets adjusted.
Yeah, I can certainly say with some confidence, you're going to see most all the taxing entities trying to adjust so that this clearly isn't meant to derive a windfall. But we don't know at this point what the other, I haven't presented the city budget to the council yet, but from the city standpoint, I would be very hard pressed to present a budget with the levy expressed in dollars to be collected by the city any higher than this year's was. So I'd like it to be, but there's still a good chance if you own a house, you might see your taxes go up because the city's only part.
You know, I recognize this is inflation across the board and we have to pay city employees more to cover the additional costs of whatever.
But, you know, if yeah, the school did a pretty big lift last year. Another factor here is, you know, if you look at the numbers, yes, it's residential that has driven the need for a revaluation up 94.4% in on average. But the portion of our tax base that's commercial only went up 38%. So if you're collecting taxes across a full tax base and one group of properties went up 38% and another went up 94%, that residential that went up 94% is going to feel the impact. And that, I commented earlier, that's, again, we don't control this. We just have to try to respond and be equitable about it.
Do the commercial properties get this big reassessment?
It got a reassessment with the intent of reflecting market value, but again.
And how often does the commercial get readjusted versus the residential?
I guess I'd defer to our assessor on that. I mean, they're on the same cycle, but
Oh,
it's
they
not
are.
a fixed cycle.
So the commercial hasn't really been done since the 90s either?
Correct. And they were both brought to market value, but
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
face it, home values generally have gone up a lot more than commercial properties out there in the marketplace. I'm no expert on that, but it's pretty evident. Just from press accounts, City of Oshkosh did a reval this year and their residential properties went up 75%, their commercial 25%. So
Oh, interesting.
whenever that happens, you're going to see a shift in tax burden onto the class that's growing fastest.
All those people from Chicago buying up all the properties along the way. It's okay.
Mr. Hennessy,
Ready?
I'm ready. You got my paper?
Yes, please.
Yep, please. And you can sit right in Greg's chair if you wish.
People's share.
People's chair. Okay, so thank you for coming tonight.
Yep.
The Board of Review just wants you to understand that under state law, the Board of Review is required to uphold the assessor's valuation of your property as being correct unless you by testimony can show the assessor's validation to be incorrect. In other words, the burden of proof is upon you as a taxpayer. Does that make sense? Okay. Do you want to do the swearing in right away, Amanda?
Introduce it.
Yep, yes, please.
Okay. This case is of Adam Husky, property located at 4120 Clover Street. Tax ID 11000311. Land value 27,500, improvement 233,000, total of $260,500. And then if both of you could raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony which you shall give in the matter now on hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
So how it goes is, Adam, you'll be first. You'll be able to state, you'll be able to testify and present evidence first, and then the assessor may then ask the property owner questions, after which the Board of Review members may ask any additional questions they have for the property owner objector. After the property owner testifies, any other witnesses presented in support of the property owner will testify, which I don't see any. After all the witnesses, et cetera, have been testified, the assessor will present his or her case in support of the assessment. The property owner's objector may then ask the assessor questions, followed by the Board of Review members. The property owner may respond to the assessor's testimony by presenting any other evidence, followed by additional questioning from the assessor and the Board of Review members. The assessor may then present any other evidence in support of the assessment, again, subject to questioning from the property owner, objector, and the Board of Review members. After all evidence has been submitted under oath, the property owner objector may make a brief summary of his or her case to the Board of Review, and the assessor may follow with a brief summary of his or her case. After each summary has been presented, the taking of testimony will be closed, and the Board of Review will deliberate on the testimony in an open session immediately following the testimony. With that said, you are up, sir.
Okay. First off, the accurate says that my property was inaccurately assessed back when I bought the land. I don't know what evidence they have of that, but that is what they told me in the email. With that being said, I purchased my lot for $15,000. Okay, it got assessed at $17,000. So how that could have been not assessed correctly, I'm not sure. 100% of the value would have been 15,000, not 17. There were multiple lots when I purchased my lot back in, I think it was 2018, 2017, 2018, right around there. There were multiple ones, one that is 3 blocks away from where I live right now that is still in the market. Still there. Okay. The city took land from me and somehow they increased my property value. I don't know how my land increased with them taking and putting big electrical boxes in my backyard, increased my land value. When I built this house, my dining room was supposed to be in the front yard, and I'm very big on landscape. It was supposed to be in the front yard. I didn't want to look out my window while I was eating at parked cars. So I decided I was going to put a breakfast nook in the back, which has windows facing all sides. I had landscaping, I had a tree, flowers on the other side, and then I had a nice rock garden with flowers. That has now been replaced with ugly electrical boxes that I now have to stare out every day. After they took land, more land from me, and then somehow that increases my land value $10,000 more. That's what I'm contesting. I'm not contesting the house. I'm contesting the land part of this because it's not worth that.
So you're saying it's not worth 27.5, it's worth 17,000?
Yeah. I mean, the market determines the rate. And if a lot that's 3 blocks down from me that's for sale at the same time still hasn't sold, that market hasn't changed. You can't compare Sandy Bay Highlands to where I live. They're not the same places. I don't have a country atmosphere with city utilities. It's not what I have. I have transient neighbors next to me as well. It's an apartment. It's not the same. That's fine if lots are going for 34,000 up at Sandy Bay. This isn't Sandy Bay. And quite frankly, my house is negatively affected buy these. And you want pictures? Is that what you were gonna ask, Bill?
Oh, it's just, oh, can I ask you, do you know what the size of your lot is?
I think it's a quarter of an acre, 86 by
Full
125.
quarter?
Hmm?
It's a full quarter of an acre?
It's about a full quarter.
So it's fairly good size. You got a pretty nice yard.
It's not that big of a yard. I'm tight on my sides. I'm tight in the front and the back.
Look at a house.
8 on each side. And then in the back, maybe 20, between 25 and 30 feet. So it's not all that big, no. 'Cause my patio is about 12 feet long. And I could probably fit 2 of them on there. So yeah, somewhere between 25 and 30 feet would be what I have left for a backyard.
I would just note in my capacity in my job as city manager, I've had occasion to visit Mr. Woski's backyard. And yeah, I just want to note for the record that the city, the term taking was used, and I'm not disagreeing with it. There was an existing utility easement for mid-block utilities, and with changing city services to electric service to underground mid-block, the city is utilizing a bigger footprint and in a different way, property within that legal easement that was platted there, which I'm not disagreeing or agreeing whether that affects value, but that was the taking. And I would say, I understand typically the practice is that those boxes, those utility boxes, are ideally at lot corners. Got to be somewhere with underground service, but at corners. Now, what history led to the pole that the city service was on, electric service, going to this, how it ended mid-block where their lots combined in the past. So Adams is what was a lot and a half once. I don't know. I don't know.
History.
Yeah. And you still have poles marching through your backyard, right?
Correct.
Because Frontier
Yep.
still has their
So I still have
overhead facilities.
the rest of that negative effect.
'Cause
And I know the assessor, which I wasn't real pleased with when they answered me either, was no one else complained. Well, nobody else had it in the middle of their yard either. Everybody else had it in the corner. But they don't look at stuff like that. They just take it for granted that they know where this stuff is. And it's not there. It's dead nuts, middle of my yard. That's what I look out every morning and see from my bedroom. And I look out it again when I eat. Again, if it's in the corner, it's probably a lot different. It's not negatively affecting me as much as it is when it is right there, when I built something right there to see. I didn't see that to see 3 utility boxes, none of which are the same ugly green. But that's what I'm faced with looking at now every day.
Haven't planted a cedar tree next to each one?
I don't think I could.
I got plenty of them. You can come, I'll give them to you.
I don't think that was on their list of things that I could do. I'm very limited as to what I can do there.
A fence bump out into your yard would be permitted if I'm
It
recalling.
would be
right? And I'm-
permitted, and it would be also a different color because the current fence that's there is weathered. Therefore, it would stick out again like a sore thumb at another cost to me.
It's your neighbor's fence, but
It's my
you
neighbor's
don't need
fence.
2 fences back to back, and
Right.
clearly it would be less weathered than your
Right.
neighbor's fence.
So, I'm not arguing the price of my house. That's not what that's why I didn't even put that stuff in there. It's based on my property value.
I would ask you or the assessor, can anybody tell us, are the nearby lots within the same block, similarly sized, similarly assessed? Understanding you feel you have something that makes your lot different because of where you've got that box. I
Mhm.
guess I was just curious though, or if they're similarly sized, are they assessed at 27.5, 30, 20?
You have to give them a chance.
I'm sorry. I didn't, that's right, I'm asking questions before the assessor time. Out of order, sorry.
Assessor's turn.
Apologies.
next year, anybody else?
So what we're looking at here is comparable sales to this property to justify the value. To backtrack a little bit, when we revalued the land this year, this neighborhood this parcel is located in neighborhood 8, which would be described as North Central. We group all of our neighborhoods by similar size lots. We try and keep it within the same year built of homes if we can. But typically, neighborhood for us means different than what it means to most people, because I think that's directly your neighbors. Where it's really, if they're the same size, same style lots, they could be across the city from each other and still be in the same neighborhood for us. And that land was revalued we valued the land at $2.70 for the first 10,000 square feet. And then everything after that is 85 cents a square foot. And the math comes out there. We've got this parcel at 10,625 square feet to be exact. And the math comes out to 27,500 for land value. That's uniform with the rest of the parcels in this neighborhood. And then looking at the sale comparison sheet now, I'm just arguing overall value. I'm defending the overall value of the parcel. As you can see, we got 3 sales of similar style homes. It was tough because there wasn't a lot of newer construction that sold. On the comparable number 3, I found a parcel that was around the same year built. You can see the differences in sale prices there. There's all of our data points we have and dollar adjustments for each of those data points. And at the bottom of each column, there's a total dollar adjustment. And then add that up with the sale price, and that would be the red value, the total adjusted value, once we factor in those data differences. As you can see here, the average adjusted value of these 3 sales was $319,000. The average dollar per square foot of those adjusted values is $129.81. So I feel like this parcel valued at $121 a square foot is fair and a fair value for this parcel.
Okay.
Is that all? Yeah. Okay. Any questions for the assessor? Greg, I think you had one.
No, I was asking about the neighborhood, but in terms of the sales, the area for your analysis purpose, you're saying these are houses considered in the neighborhood. So, okay. I think that takes care of that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Questions?
Lot pretty much all sand.
It is sand. I had to haul in some clay, which is underneath.
So your basement's pretty dry, pretty sound.
Yeah.
Built in a nice spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of sand in Two Rivers.
That's clay.
Also a lot of clay.
Don't address truth in advertising, Bill.
I would say the comparables here aren't accurate, but I mean, they're not where I live. Bigger lot sizes, except for the one.
A little smaller and it's
Actually more, it's higher than your.
Mm-hmm. And it probably doesn't have a backyard like mine either. That after I built it, since it got destroyed on me. My backyard, after I built, got destroyed
storm.
from the utilities.
Oh, you mean, oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, I have no reason to have the windows, the breakfast nook, or anything back there. It's not aesthetically pleasing whatsoever. I mean, before I built, I looked at many houses in the city of Two Rivers, none that fitted what I wanted for a look. This one would be checked off that list as well if it was on the market and I was looking, I wouldn't.
Do you have any pictures?
Mm-hmm.
transformer right here. Yep. There's a box, there's another box, and there's utility pole, and there's wire sitting on top of the box. Box, that's more, they went all the way around. I love the pole. So that's your meter? No, my meter's not my house. That's all utilities. There must be telephone, I assume, charter. No, it's a charter Frontier. I'm the only, no, must be Frontier. Frontier's up on the pole, yeah. I'm the only one that has the transfer.
The bump out in the fence for this.
As a hearing on the record, let's try to speak into the microphones and get some clarification
Oh, I'm
on
sorry.
what we're asking about on these pictures. And if you could send those pictures to the clerk so that we can.
The wire's still hanging there yet?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Been going on since end of February. Frontier, please. You can show Greg, Greg's. He's been there.
Oh, yeah, right.
Just a point of clarification, the transformer is shown, it's about, if the fence line continued straight, it would just about bisect it. Half of it is on your neighbor's property or what was platted as your neighbor's property, and half of it lies on your lot as platted. And I don't recall if it is a 10 feet either side property line.
10 feet. It's typical.
That's my question with regard. I'm sorry, it just went black there. You, Mr. Ohusky, you'd mentioned earlier, that at least one other lot in the neighborhood, and I'm maybe a different neighborhood for market purposes, but it was for sale when you bought yours. It's still for sale.
Correct.
Is the pricing the same as it was when it was for sale in 2018?
That I don't know,
Okay.
but I do know it's still for sale. It was similarly priced to the lot that I bought, so it's not moving.
I was just
It
curious.
wasn't moving at that price. If they jacked it up, it's still not moving. It's still there as of this morning.
I'll say I'd find it hard to believe that if your lot was sitting vacant as it is today with a transformer box in the backyard, just knowing generally even infill lots in the city, what they go for, that strikes me as a reasonable market value, but I'm not, that's just a comment.
I wouldn't have bought it.
I'm not saying you should like looking at the transformer, but it's still seems modest.
Do we know what other land in that area, what it was assessed for? Was it the same? For same size in that general area where Adam was? It's pretty much the
All
same.
the parcels in that neighborhood are assessed the same, dollar
Okay.
per square foot wise,
Okay.
as far as the land value goes.
Any other questions? Anything else, Adam? Closing statements or anything? I feel like a judge here, but
Nope,
nothing else?
I pretty much said it all.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and I would just add that when whoever you spoke to mentioned, like, no one else complaining about it, I think what they meant to say was if that was an issue with parcels around the city or parcels nearby you, like, the sales would show it, or we would know about it from other property owners. And that's what we didn't have. So I don't think an electrical box would affect the sale price of this parcel.
Thank you.
Any deliberation? Board members? Otherwise, we look for a motion based, never mind, sorry.
Is it still okay to ask I guess a deliberative question of the assessor? There are all different kinds of configurations for utilities in residential neighborhoods of the city. Some streets still have wires. strung on poles in the front with service, overhead service drops. Some have mid-block utilities, which is how I would still, mid-block overhead utilities. Admittedly, in Mr. Wahusky's block, it's combination right now because the city's underground, and I don't know if anybody else is, but
Charter.
Charter, okay. But due to Frontier, true to form, not getting theirs done, there's overhead, and in some areas have 100% underground with cabinets located at corners. Does any of that have make a material difference in property value as viewed by an assessor?
From what I've seen, I'd say no. I don't think I've ever heard anybody really say that I didn't buy this house because of this electrical box. Obviously, if given the choice, people would choose one or the other. But I feel like in general, these sales aren't affected by a utility box.
Or whether it's overhead, underground,
Right.
back of the lot, front of the lot at the street. Okay, I was just curious about that. Seems it's at least a much lesser consideration.
Yeah.
When you look at a property. Okay, thank you.
A house under 10 years old, would they configure it differently had that been there? In your opinion, would someone configure it differently? I know from a building standpoint, I would.
Yeah.
And I would say that would diminish the value. If you would do things differently had you had the chance to do it after it got wrecked. Because you wouldn't build it the same, but you build it specifically for that area. And I'm not saying, it's not a 30-year-old home.
If it was to be listed for sale, I don't
It's
think you'd list it for any less
this is under
based on
10
the
years
electrical
old.
box.
Okay. Anything else? If not, I am now closing the testimony in this case. I'll now open up deliberation of the case by asking the Board of Review members if they have any questions or anything else they wish to discuss. Seeing nothing, then we are looking for a motion exercising its judgment and discretion pursuant to Wisconsin statute 70-479A. The Board of Review by majority and roll call vote hereby determines either support for the assessor, correct? Or that's up to them, or support for Adam. Okay. So we're looking for a motion that will either, according to this, will support Adam or support the assessor.
It's neither or, it's not splitting the baby.
Correct.
Correct, okay, yeah.
Correct.
I will make a motion to support the assessor.
Then do we have a second?
Just making sure the
Record keeps.
right with what's transpired.
Okay, roll call vote. Greg Buckley,
Aye.
Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Scott Steckmeister.
Aye.
Amanda Berenbrook, aye. So motion carries.
Sir, appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Adam.
Good evening, Judy. How are you?
Are you calling me up there?
Yes, we are ready. Are we ready?
I thought.
Yes.
First.
Just 1 second. Okay, all set? Okay, thank you, ma'am, for coming in this evening. Before we start, I just want to make sure that you are aware, the Board of Review wants you to understand that under state law, the Board of Review is required to uphold the assessor's valuation of your property as being correct unless you, by testimony, can show the assessor's valuation to be incorrect. In other words, the burden of proof is upon you as a taxpayer. Does that make sense? Thank you for that. Then, for the record, can you please state your full name and address?
Deb's 1302 Mahogany Run, Two Rivers.
Thank you. And Amanda will then swear you in along with the assessor.
Please both raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony which you shall give in the matter now on hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Okay. Just a couple other things, just real quick of how this kind of flows. The person filing the objection will testify and present evidence first. The assessor may then ask the primary or the property owner questions, after which the Board of Review members may ask any additional questions they have for the property owner. At that point, then the assessor then testifies, and with any other information that he may have to be able to testify in the defense for that. At the same time, after he's done presenting, the property owner may also ask questions. Once that is complete, the Board of Review members will then could ask questions as well. After that is done, you can offer up a closing summary, and then after that summary is presented, the testimony will be closed, and then the Board of Review will deliberate. So the floor is all yours, ma'am. I know, there's a lot of, but no pressure, because.
Okay, well, I did receive the assessed value on the property, and I realized that it did come down some.
Judy, if you could, these mics don't pick up real well. If you want to pull that really close, so for the record, the microphone, yeah.
You can get a little bit closer.
Yeah, you almost have to eat it for it to come out really clear. Thank you. So I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Is the TV going on too?
We're recording it.
But it's just your back, so you're okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, I did receive the assessed valuation. And when I first saw it, the first round, I was shocked at how much more mine was other than the other properties in our neighborhood that are exactly the same as mine. Some of them are not. But some of those that are not assessed very high, as I feel mine is way too high. And I don't know, do you get copies of all the stuff that I handed to Amanda, and you all saw those?
You have a copy up there, yes.
So am I supposed to go through every one of these or what?
The way that you present your evidence is up to you. If you feel that that'll be the most effective way to do it, then yes.
So do you have copies of these as I'm going through?
Would we benefit from taking a moment to run copies of these?
I think so.
We're not
We don't
special.
have,
She's supposed to run, I don't know how that works.
If you'd like copies, then you should make copies of these, yeah. I've got an electronic version. I could send that.
oh, okay.
We won't bust our copy budget. We'll be good. Yep.
Take a short break to get copies.
Copies made for, yes, correct.
For you.
totally unrelated to sharing something.
Oh, so all of the board review members now have paper copies of everything that Stubbs provided.
Thank you. What I did was I went through almost every house in the neighborhood, and I've been in most of them. And what I did when I put these in order, if they stay the way they're supposed to, I tried to get those that are most like mine right now. And then as I went on, there's others that have a lot more done, but assessed for almost what my first assessment came back at. The first one is at 1224 Mahogany Run. Well, first of all, mine should be on the top.
Yes.
Okay. Right next door to me is 1224 Mahogany Run. It's very similar to mine. Basement is not finished as a, basement that you think of with some people with rec rooms and all of that stuff in it. And that one came back at 182.5. The next one is more towards the end of our road, which is on the cul-de-sac. The Mateca property at 1104 Mahogany Court. That one is like mine. There's nothing done in the basement, nothing. They do have a new roof and things like that on it, but not mine. And Ed Stelter's 1220 Mahogany Run. They have a full bath and everything in the basement and some paneling up, but nothing fancy down there either. And theirs is assessed at 184.5. Deers at 1100 Mahogany Run. Their basement is not finished either. They have a newer roof. Her husband did put up some things in the basement, but nothing fancy, as she said. And then we have 1112 Mahogany Run. That house is like mine. It does not have a finished basement either. It does, however, have a sunroom in the back that's enclosed. And that one's assessed at 95.4. 1116 Mahogany Run is like mine also, not finished in the basement. That one does have a newer roof on. And that's 193.6. And 1105 Mahogany Run is like mine. It's newer. The floor plan's the same. Their basement is finished. And by saying finished, I mean it's very, very nice down there. And there's a quarter bath down there. They have a beautiful deck in the back with that new material that's out. And that one is assessed, let's see here. 241,400. Dave Lipke's 1306 Mahogany Run, very similar to my new roof and a completely finished basement, but without a bath. That's at 232,700. Craig Ferry's, his is very nicely done downstairs. Garage, they have all very nice too. And that one's at 226,900. One across the street from me, 1303 Mahogany Run, is all finished, all updated, the whole house inside. Nice deck and stuff on the back at 269,900. Robert Beck at 1225 Mahogany Run. That's different in that it's a two-story. It's the only two-story in the neighborhood. All finished, upstairs, downstairs, basement, and updated. And that's 258,100. Then we have Dave App's property at 1108 Mahogany Run. That one is completely finished, inside, basement. In fact, it's like a living quarters down there. And there's a big sunroom added to the side of it in excellent condition. And that one is at 265,000. So if you look at mine, you see what mine is assessed at. After I bought it, all I did was change out patio doors because they needed to be replaced. And I found out later they weren't even installed correctly, which is why I had the problem. And just recently I put 2 walls in the basement to make it look like a room. But the rest of it it's a poured basement, so the walls are concrete. There's no paneling, no nothing on it. And I put a piece of carpeting down there. That's it. I have everything original when the place was built. There's no updated countertops, nothing, cabinets, nothing. I mean, it's not a dump, but, and there's a deck on the back, a wooden deck. That's it. So that's why I feel mine is assessed way too high when I compare it to those that don't have the finished basements and everything. Whereas those that are really nicely done aren't high at all. It's almost the same in some cases. That's all I have to present.
Any questions from the assessor?
No.
Nope. Any questions from us?
Do you have the original siding on your house?
Yeah, yes,
And it's the same as the neighbors?
vinyl siding.
Condos, they're all the same?
Actually, my siding should be replaced, but I haven't done that.
Right. Well,
But-
now your house is a little, do you know what when it was built?
Oh, it should be on here. 2007. I've lived there for 9 years now.
And you're asking to reassess that at 189,
I think that would be fair.
and the house is pretty much exactly the same. You assess that less than that, actually, 182,
Right.
184.
Right.
Any other questions? Yeah, no more questions? Okay.
Questions?
Mr. Sisson? Oh, yes. All right.
All right, so, looking at this condo, 1302 Mahogany Run, you see all of its data in the first column. Found 3 sales over the past 2 years of similar condo units, 2 of those being in Mahogany Run. As you can see, the data differences that we have on record, and the value adjustments made for those data differences. You'll see the dollar per square foot gets kind of out of whack for each of those. And that's just due to these parcels having finished basements. That's gonna throw off your dollar per square foot. Because finished basement living area is not as valuable as first floor living area. But look at the overall sale price, the 240 sale price, I think is a fair value, and 224.9 seems like a fair value in line with the other condo units in Mahogany Run. Looking at 1302 compared to the other condos in that unit or in that grouping of the Mahogany Run condo expandable group, looks like there was a phase 1 and phase 2. I would assume this was phase 1. This value of 224.9 seems right in line with the rest of the condos in that unit. I definitely agree with the open book adjustment from the original 283.8. I don't see a reason to bring the value down any lower. Seems in line with all of those condos in Mahogany Run.
Well, like I said, I've been in, can I talk? I've been in these, I know, 1303 Mahogany Run has lots of updates in that house. Right across the street from me, trying to find what 1221 is.
So the original, this is for the assessed, the original assessed value was 283.8 at one point?
Yep.
And then it was brought down to 224.9?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, okay. I was a little confused by that for a second there, so, okay.
I don't question the comparable sales and the adjustments and the numbers derived there. A lot of the units over at Mahogany Run casually look pretty similar to one another. And any thoughts on they aren't sales, but the assessed values on other properties that Ms. Stibbs presents that appear at first blush to be pretty comparable to her unit that are assessed below?
Looking at these, we value the condos totally on their own compared to how we do kind of all the other real estate sales, all the other types of homes kind of together. Condos, we've learned, are kind of their own market. So we value those completely separately, every condo in the muni and the sales that we have for those. And looking at the list of Mahogany Run condos here, the data that we have, again, if there's data that there are updates that we don't know about, we don't know what we don't know. But based on the data that we have, this value seems now in line with the other ones. I would imagine the original large value was probably due to the fact that this one was built in 2007 and the other ones around it looked like they were in the mid 90s. So I would chalk that up to being the first reason why that value was so large.
I think it's brought down to fair value.
Now,
I don't mean to interrupt, but could I just ask, to what extent location plays a role in the value, and then the location of your comparables versus the locations of hers, just, is that relevant here?
It could be. I believe, I know I did catch 1303 mentioned by her as well. The ones on Mahogany, obviously, I would say the location there, probably, they're in the same location, they're on Mahogany Run.
But Mahogany Run is,
Um,
there's only one that's different in Mahogany Run, and that's that two-story.
I think would play a factor, at least for the value in condos aspects of things. We try to group them all in the same condo complexes or locations.
You know, and I just feel with see, I know the names of the people. I don't know the addresses. The Mateca at 1104 Mahogany Run, they don't have anything finished in theirs either. And theirs is down at 180 something. And Bev Schmitz with, I don't know her address either. She has a sunroom in the back, but nothing is done in the basement or a bathroom or any of that is down there.
Which parcel was that?
I know. Mateca's is 1104. And then the other one is the 1100 one and 1112.
183.
One next door to me,
184.
1224 Mahogany Run, that's the same. Dougal, 1116 Mahogany. And then you get to one that's completely all done, really nice downstairs, rec room, carpeting, all of that, bath. And then that one is only at 241, that's only $20,000 difference.
Yes, ma'am.
Colin, the evidence that she gave us, are those numbers all accurate? I noticed that some of the printings are from early August before open book.
To the best of my knowledge, yeah.
Okay, I just didn't know when the website was updated with the newest assessments.
Oh, the website, those.
Like, these are the printings that she provided us, and up in the corner, they're from August 12th.
Oh, if those had open book adjustments, those would not be on our website.
But they would have been what the new.
Right, yes.
Okay, all right.
I guess if we're just looking at Mahogany Run, I would point to 1421 is at 237. 1105 is at 241.4. 1108 is at 265 with similar data.
Eleven oh five is the one that was built, maybe 5 years, I'm not even sure. It was built after mine, and that one is completely done. The basement, everything, so I can see why, it's 241. And a lot of these have newer roofs and all that stuff on there.
Sorry, we have a lot of papers to go through. Thank you.
Are all of the condos on Mahogany Run, are they like standalone units or do they like share walls? Okay.
Any other questions so far?
I have a comment, and that's the one that's on Deerbrook. That one I didn't use at all, and that, because it's in a whole different, it's in Blue Heron condominium. And those are together. There's like a duplex. That's not a standalone.
Okay. Any other questions? Any final statements? Either one of you.
Not for me.
I would tend to agree that all of their condos are close by. The Blue Heron as a comparable, maybe a little bit of an outlier, just from, it's not legit, but a sense that resales have been awfully strong in Blue Heron historically, for whatever reason.
They are right now.
Yeah. So then, but I see what the assessor's saying. I was going to jump to saying, therefore, the subject property, if you, particularly comparing it to the two Mahogany Run properties, has a substantially higher value per square foot, but the assessor's already noted a big part of that is those other two Mahogany Run units have finished low basements effectively. And I assume those are habitable spaces, but they're still assessed lower per square foot than first floor.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I will now close the testimony in this case. I'll now open up for deliberations amongst the board of review members. If they have any comments or questions amongst yourselves.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, your basement isn't fixed up, right? Based on that. I agree with her.
If that's a motion, I would second it. Was that a motion?
I make a motion to go with property owners, private assessment.
Personal assessment, I should say.
As appealed, I would second that motion.
The roll call vote.
Rick Buckley,
Yes.
Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Scott Steckmeiser,
Aye.
Amanda Behrenbruck, aye.
Thanks to both of you.
Congratulations.
on this.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you for your homework on this, Mr.
Did your homework.
And we're within 5 minutes of being legal. Well, if you're doing a statistical analysis, that would be a 50% success rate thus far for people appearing at Board of Review. It's kind of like the number of front yard gardens tripling.
Right.
Sorry. Interesting. I think the last time I drove through Blue Heron, there were 3 units for sale currently. That's unusual because 5?
Aye.
People usually watch the obituaries for available condo units here. 5? Oh, my goodness.
I can send you it.
And they were
I want to let us in to see it.
You know, it was like. That are otherwise allowed.
It's an older copy.
It's tough.
Well, I thought this was something like they were gonna grab the capacity to go like retail.
Virtually somewhere on the outside, right?
No, although the kinds of discussion we're getting on very old.
Thank you for letting me sit. It was really educational. I always learned something.
We have to
I was curious and asked questions. Isn't she retired?
Yeah, she is.
Wait, so
It was a while back.
Oh.
And she said she was my sister. She
On
ran.
February 16th of 2106.
Thank you for playing the police then.
I'm juggling.
Here's the corner, so that's where the next town ones. for
Yes,
sale.
yes.
And everything from there back to Adams is R3. So it's per, where you want.
A lot of it's original.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot, the old, white is R1 single family, more like that on the north end.
We made that was in, one point, it was original. Now.
People just tear down some buildings.
I know. I drive past them when I call me, I used to call that beach house. But anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, give us a call.
No,
Good to meet
this
you.
is, perhaps I'll see you next year, perhaps.
Maybe.
I will see how this whole process goes, but thank you for letting me sit in on this stuff. It was really.
Public meeting, you're always welcome.
Pardon?
Public meeting, so you're always welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys hope you get outside and get a little walk in this nice weather.
Yes, thank you.
She's so precious. She's a real trick. It's the sales.
Okay. On to number 17, consider act on scheduling additional Board of Review dates.
That sure is not here.
Necessary. Want to turn out?
Nope, let's just double check the audience.
Dave is still here and he hasn't opined on appealing his assessment.
Okay, so nothing, no future dates. In another minute before we adjourn. 50 seconds.
They're gonna have 2 hours. All of a sudden it's gonna happen. I'm really surprised, that's all.
I'm shocked.
I'm absolutely shocked.
96% increase, so we get 2 hearings.
And open book was, at least when here, I don't know how many inquiries have been fielded subsequent to open book, but there were like 85.
Yeah. That's about right.
There was a lot more recent because I think people read their things.
Yeah, I wasn't sure when the initial one was only like 2 or 3. Yeah. I thought they were gonna start pouring in, but.
I understand it.
It was based on
Thorough analysis of market factors, and Lord knows the market has
been
been
strong,
here.
but
I've yet to see it.
assessment that seemed egregious, you know, I concur with our decision with this last one, but it just seemed way out.
Whack.
And that's,
Thank you.
So we
That's what
can-
that's what you guys are shooting for.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Second that one. Second motion.
I'll defer.
Okay.
Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Dave, for staying late.
Thanks, Dave.